Hello everyone. Today we're talking about a topic that I'm really excited to talk about because I think a lot of people have questions about it, but also I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about it. And this is how to lose weight without exercise. One of the biggest, most common misconceptions that I see is that people think that they need to be like dying on a treadmill 24/7 in order to lose weight. And this could not be farther from the truth. In fact, I personally don't really recommend cardio to lose weight. I'll link my video all about that down in the description box below. And also there's just a lot of people out there that are under the impression that the more you exercise, the more intense you go, the more time you put in, the faster and better your results are gonna be. And this is also not the case. There is in fact a thing called overtraining. I also have a whole video on that. If you can exercise, then the amount that you should exercise for fat loss comes down a lot more to what's comfortable for you, like what you enjoy and how much frequency you can actually stick with and what you can do like long term to make this more of a lifestyle rather than something that you're doing short term to try to lose fat, because generally if you're trying to lose fat in the short term, that means it's gonna come back on. It's not gonna stay off long term. But here's the other thing. It is entirely possible to lose weight with no exercise at all. Exercise is not necessary for fat loss. Now here's the thing. I feel like a lot of people are gonna hear that and go, oh my God, Marissa says I don't have to exercise. We're never exercising a day in our lives again, never setting foot in the gym, never doing anything. I'm just not gonna exercise. It's not what I'm saying. I recommend exercise. The big caveat to the statement that you don't have to exercise to lose weight is that if you can exercise, you should exercise. First of all, exercise is very important for just overall health and longevity. Regular exercise can help you achieve a lot more than just your aesthetic goals. It can help with mental health, it can help with mental clarity, it helps with keeping you strong and independent well into your 80s so that, you know, you can like live on your own and be independent and run around with your grandchildren and travel the world. If you're coming to this video because you're looking for an excuse not to exercise because you hate exercise, I recommend reframing your mindset around it and don't look at it as exercise. Look at it as play. Like when you're a kid, you're running around on the playground, you don't think, oh, I'm out here exercising, you're playing. Treat exercise now the same way you would when you were 5. Experiment with movement, try different forms of exercise, find what feels good and what feels enjoyable. And if it's literally going to the park and playing on Jungle Gym, like do that. That's good for you. Another reason that I recommend exercising if you can is if you do have aesthetic goals, incorporating exercise is going to make it a ton easier. So it's not necessary, but it makes your life a lot easier. Particularly if you're trying to reduce body fat percentage. Resistance training in particular is what really does this when you're trying to not only lose weight, but also get leaner. Because there's a difference between weight loss and fat loss. Weight loss, you could go from 175 pounds to 125 pounds and be the same body fat percentage. So you're just gonna look like a smaller version of yourself, not a leaner version of yourself. But if you incorporate resistance training and you build muscle, or at least maintain the muscle mass that you have, you're going to go from 175 to 125 and decrease your body fat percentage and overall look leaner and more fit. So while it's definitely possible to lose weight without exercise, it is really difficult to decrease body fat percentage without resistance training. So that's just something to keep in mind, again, if you're coming to this video looking for an excuse not to exercise. But there are very legitimate reasons why you or someone may not be able to exercise either at this moment or long term. Some of these might be injury. If you're injured, you probably can't exercise. You might be supposed to like rest and not exercise. Or if you're recovering from surgery, or if you have a chronic illness that makes exercise not the best idea. I've been there. I had to take about 9 months completely off of exercise because my health tanked and exercise was just not a good idea for me. So I stopped exercising. If you're in a period of your life where you're experiencing like acute high amounts of stress, exercise, while usually a good stressor on the body, if you have acute high amounts of stress, can just add to that stress and become a bad stressor on the body. So if you're in that scenario, maybe you do want to cut out exercise temporarily. Basically, there are a ton of valid reasons why someone might not want to exercise right now, but still want to lose weight. So this video is for you people. The main takeaway though is going to be do what you can. So like if you can move to a certain extent, I recommend it. But if there's certain things that you can't do, that's okay. There are ways around it. So if you're excited to learn about how you can lose weight without exercise, give this video a thumbs up and let's just get to the first tip. Tip number 1 is put your health first. Do not go, okay, I can't exercise, therefore I have to go more extreme with my diet, crash diet, try to lose weight super fast, and then end up compromising your health in the process. This is going to tank your health, which is going to make it harder to lose weight and keep it off long term. It's probably going to tank your metabolism. So again, good luck keeping the weight off long term. And it's also going to cause you to lose muscle. So like I said, it's already hard to maintain muscle while you're losing weight if you're not exercising, so you can decrease your body fat percentage. If you try to crash diet, like, you're really not going to decrease your body fat percentage. Like, you're gonna lose a lot of muscle in the process and just be a smaller version of you at the same body fat percentage. So prioritize health. And this is where tip number 2 comes in. In the Marissa version of health, there are 4 pillars of health: exercise, nutrition, sleep, and stress. When you get rid of one pillar, the 3 become a lot more important. Like, think about if you have like a building on pillars, or like a roof on pillars. Coliseum? No, I did the thing with pillars. If you get rid of one of the pillars, the other 3 are carrying a lot more weight, and whether or not they're stable is a lot more important than when there's 4 evenly balancing everything. A lot of people put a lot of time and effort into building structure around their workouts and dedicating themselves to working out consistently, but they don't treat the other pillars the same way, particularly when it comes to sleep and stress. But those other 3 pillars really need to have equal weight to exercise. And when you're removing exercise, even more weight than exercise. So the key here is going to be modulating and optimizing each pillar of health to help you towards your weight loss goals. Because here's the thing, yes, weight loss comes down to a calorie deficit. You have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. But if you take out the exercise, a lot of people are gonna say you can only create that deficit through nutrition. This is not the case. The metabolism is a lot more complex than just saying, okay, I'm gonna input 2,000 calories and burn 2,200 calories by walking and we're good to go. There are other ways and things that you can do to get your body to metabolize food in a more efficient way. This is where optimizing stress and sleep come in. Basically, the more optimal they are, the better you're setting your body up to burn calories more efficiently and effectively and get you in a calorie deficit. So let's start with talking about one of the most overlooked pillars of health: stress. When it comes to stress and fat loss, every time you're stressed, your adrenal glands release adrenaline and cortisol. This results in your body releasing glucose into the bloodstream, spiking your blood sugar. This in itself, over time, promotes insulin resistance, which, as we all know, makes it really hard to lose fat. But in addition, once the stress kind of goes away, the adrenaline subsides, your blood sugar is going to crash. Blood sugar crashes lead to cravings for more sugar to get your blood sugar back up. So like, good luck with those cravings. Cortisol also in itself slows down your metabolism. There was a 2015 study done at Ohio University that took women and observed them over a 24-hour period. And those women who said that they had experienced 1 or more stressors during that 24-hour period burned 104 fewer calories in that period than non-stressed women. Over time, over like a year of burning 104 fewer calories, that could lead to like an 11-pound weight gain. This is like a direct example of how nutrition is not the only way to modulate your metabolic rate. So those are some of the bigger reasons that you really want to prioritize stress management if you are trying to lose weight with or without exercise, honestly. But if you're not exercising, again, this becomes even more important. Now, how can you deal with stress? We live in a society where we are just constantly stressed out to the max. It can be really, really difficult to manage your body's stress response. First thing to do is just be aware. Like, listen to your body, be aware of when it starts to be like, hey, I'm a little bit stressed. If you can build that awareness, then you can tackle it head on rather than waiting for all of the stress to just build up until you're a little stress ball that can't control it. One of my personal favorite ways to manage my stress and get my body into a parasympathetic or rest and digest state rather than a sympathetic state, which is fight or flight response. That's when your cortisol is spiking. That's when all the bad things happen. You want to shift your body into a parasympathetic state so that it's nice and relaxed and chill. One of the best ways to do this is with breath work. I love doing box breathing. So you inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, repeat for like a couple minutes. Making sure you're doing like deep belly breathing, so breathing through here rather than in through your chest. It's really calming, really relaxing, and one of my favorite ways to deal with like acute stressors. Like, oh my God, something happened, I'm so stressed. Okay, let's take a second and breathe. Other things that I recommend incorporating include meditation. Big fan of meditation. Journaling. I'd like to be more consistent with journaling, but it works amazing for some people. Also just like staying organized, having a schedule, having lists. making lists was like a game changer for me in my organization and stress levels around that. Going for a walk can be extremely therapeutic. Well, that's also one of my absolute favorite things to do if I'm like stressed. I just walk it out. If you're chronically stressed, cutting out caffeine. Ooh, that's a big one. I have a whole video about the potential side effects of caffeine if you want to learn more, but if you are chronically stressed, cutting out stimulants, highly recommend. Also, cutting toxic people out of your life. It's hard, but it's worth it. And if you're doing all this and still kind of experiencing stress, like your body is still overwhelmed, this is when I recommend adding in a little bit of extra support with supplements. Some of my absolute favorite stress regulating supplements include ashwagandha. Y'all know I am a huge fan of ashwagandha, but also well-sourced full spectrum CBD is a really big one. And then one of my other favorites that I take regularly is the adrenal support tonic from Symbiotica. This stuff is fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Symbiotica as a brand in general. I've taken a lot of their products like consistently off and on. Actually, their NMN is amazing. Love that. But I'm a big fan of the brand because they use only like high quality, non-GMO, organic, biodynamic, wildcrafted ingredients. They keep the growing of the ingredients separate from the pollution cycle. So the ingredients like start pure and end pure. And they use a super high-tech raw extraction process to optimize bioavailability. This is where a lot of supplement companies get it wrong, is they just put the ingredient in there, but it's not extracted in a way that's actually absorbable by the body. And so you don't actually absorb like nearly any of what you think you're getting. Like that's one of the main differences that you're paying for in like really high quality brands versus less good brands. But the adrenal super tonic is designed to support the adrenals, which are the glands that produce cortisol. The supplement nerd in me comes out when I read this ingredient list, because just as someone who has studied all of this for such a long time, I can see like how everything really works together synergistically. It's not just like a bunch of random ingredients that support stress control, but like it's things that actually like they're designed to work together and really support your body in a more holistic way. But just to name a few ingredients that I absolutely love that are in here, it has guava leaf extract, which is actually a food form of zinc, and zinc plays a crucial role in the stress regulation process. And over time, it actually helps balance cortisol. And then of course, there's ashwagandha in here, which as you guys know, again, big fan. Love ashwagandha. In various studies, the decrease in cortisol has been noted to be between 14 and 30% in stressed but otherwise healthy humans, which is actually significantly more than almost any other like specific ingredient for stress response. There's one study in particular that took a group of people that just had high levels of chronic stress and gave them ashwagandha consistently for 60 days, and they found that there was a 69% reduction in anxiety and insomnia symptoms compared to 11% in the placebo group. So like ashwagandha is a powerhouse. And then another ingredient in here is holy basil, which is another one of my favorites for stress. Studies have shown that it may help lower elevated cortisol as well as regulate blood sugar. And the research shows that it may also help increase mental and physical endurance, which in itself will help buffer against stress. And then there's a whole host of other ingredients in here that just make it, again, work very synergistically to boost like overall health, balance mood, general well-being, support vitality. Like this is just, it's a great supplement. I take it regularly. I love it. If you guys do want to try it out, I did get Symbiotica to sponsor this video, so I got you guys a discount code. If you want 15% off, you can use the code FIT15. I will leave a link down in the description box below. Check it out. Highly recommend. The next pillar of health that I want to talk about is one that people just, I feel like they know they need to prioritize, but they just don't prioritize. So I'm gonna try to convince you to prioritize it and then tell you how to make it better, and that is sleep. First and foremost, the better your sleep, the more you get and the better quality, the more energy you're gonna have throughout the day. The more energy you have throughout the day, the more calories you're going to burn through movement. Not necessarily exercise, because you're not exercising, but if you're not exercising, you are still moving in some capacity, most likely. Whether it's wildly gesticulating at a camera, or doing dishes, or just sitting there like bouncing your leg fidgeting. The more energy you have, the more calories you're going to just naturally expend doing these normal daily things. Second thing is that all of the hormones associated with fat loss are optimized when you get better sleep. So this is testosterone, growth hormone, ghrelin, leptin. All of these hormones play a crucial role in fat loss, and they get so out of whack if your sleep is off. Also, sleep deprivation makes you insulin resistant. Again, we all know insulin resistance makes fat loss really freaking hard. And there are studies that show that one night of sleep deprivation can make you as insulin resistant as a person with type 2 diabetes. Like, you don't want to put yourself in that position. And then lastly, I feel like most people have experienced this. The less sleep you have, the worse your self-control, just like in general, but also around food. And if you are trying to be in a calorie deficit for fat loss and you have less self-control, good luck. Like if you are struggling with self-control in a deficit, if you just want to eat everything in sight, well, first of all, make sure you're eating actually enough of everything. Like if you're in too much of a deficit, that's also a problem. But if you're in like a good sized deficit, you're eating a healthy amount and you're still just like out of control, check your sleep. That in itself could just transform your entire journey. So if you're listening to this and you're going,
Marissa, I feel called out. I know my sleep is not optimal. What do I do?
well, I have tips for you. The goals that you have for your sleep should include a regular schedule, even on weekends. This is where most people mess up, but you should try to be waking up at the same time on weekends that you do on weekdays. There are studies that show that the more regular your sleep schedule, the better quality sleep you get. You should also be aiming for 7 to 9 hours. There are very few people that are outliers in that. You're probably not an outlier. You might think you feel good on 6 hours of sleep, but you're probably just running on adrenaline. Just try, just try getting 8 hours of solid sleep consistently for a month, and then come back to me and tell me I was right. Also, ideally for circadian rhythm purposes, you do want your sleep to be mostly aligned with the sun, so you're sleeping when the sun is down, you're waking up when the sun is coming up. I'm still working on this one, so as sassy as I'm being right now with you, I'm being just as sassy with myself in my head. I get regular sleep, I get 8 hours of sleep, but my sleep time is abysmal. It's fine, we're working on it. Slowly but surely. So some of my top tips to actually regulate your sleep schedule, get better quality sleep, etc. First, get 20 to 30 minutes of sun a day. Like go outside, see the sun with your eyes. Don't like stare directly at the sun, but like be in sunlight. Let it hit your skin, let it go in your eyes. This helps regulate your circadian rhythm. No blue light for 1 to 2 hours before bed. Ideally, go by like red light. Like I have color changing light bulbs. Use those, turn them red. Use Himalayan salt lamps, use candles. This is the cheap alternative to color changing light bulbs. Use blue blocking glasses. Have no screens for at least an hour before bed. Make sure you're sleeping in a cool temperature. The optimal temperature for sleep is between 60 and 67 degrees for most people. Something that I use is the chili pad. It's on my bed. It regulates the temperature of my mattress. Absolutely love it. But also just like have an AC in your room. Just like regulate the temperature of your room and use the proper amount of blankets. There was a 2012 study that showed that the temperature of your room is one of the most important factors in quality sleep. So if you're waking up hot, if you're waking up cold, you are interrupting your sleep quality, and you would sleep a lot better if you could just regulate the temperature. Also, being in a dark room, like you should not be able to see your hand in front of your face kind of dark. Using blackout curtains to black out any light pollution from street lights outside. Also, limiting caffeine, particularly within, I'm gonna say 12 hours of when you're trying to go to sleep. If you are struggling with your sleep quality, stimulants, not the best idea to be incorporating on a regular basis. If you're getting great sleep, do whatever you want with caffeine. Again, I have a whole video on some of the drawbacks of caffeine. I will link that in the description. And another tip for sleep, a lot of people think this is a fat loss tip. I think this is pretty dumb when it comes to fat loss as a whole, but it does impact sleep and therefore impacts fat loss. And this is don't eat within like an hour of bed. I try to not eat within like 2 hours of sleep because I find that works best for me. But studies consistently show that eating or drinking within an hour of going to sleep does negatively impact your sleep quality. There are many reasons for this, one of which is your glucose. If it spikes your glucose and then it crashes when you're sleeping, that can wake you up or at least disturb your sleep quality. Also, your body having to divert a lot of energy to digestion, not optimal. It's been shown to also not be great for your brain health. Like there's a lot of good reasons to not eat within an hour of bed. So pillar number 3 that I'm gonna talk about today is nutrition. Save this for number 3 because I feel like most people understand why it's really important. Everyone knows that fat loss comes down to diet, and for the most part, that is true. There's definitely someone out there who's chronically stressed, not sleeping enough, and I could say, eat the same amount, exercise the same amount, but get more sleep, and let's manage your stress, and they would start losing fat without changing calorie input or the expenditure through exercise. But most people are also going to have to focus on nutrition. So some tips for this. Calorie deficit. You do have to be in a calorie deficit. So first, figure out your TDEE or your total daily energy expenditure. I have a whole video on how to actually precisely do this rather than trying to use a calculator that thinks it knows you but really doesn't know you. Basically, you track your macros for a couple weeks, see what your weight does, find the amount that you have to intake for your weight to stay stable. That's your TDEE. I don't care what an online calculator tells you. Your maintenance calories, the number of calories you need to eat to maintain weight, not what TDEcalculator.com, I don't know if that's an actual website, but if it is, not what it tells you. It doesn't know your body. So you find your TDEE. then you just go into a small deficit, calorie deficit, boom, done. I do recommend incorporating mini cut cycles into your program. I have a whole video on how to implement that, but that will help prevent your metabolism from slowing down, which it's going to be prone to do if you are not resistance training. So making sure to do that is actually even more critical when you are not exercising. So aside from a calorie deficit, one of the main things you want to do is prioritize protein. Again, it's really hard to decrease body fat percentage if you are inclined to lose muscle mass at the same time, which you are if you're not resistance training. And one of the best ways to help buffer against this is keep your protein intake up. You don't have to have an excessive amount of protein, but aiming for about 1 gram per pound of lean body mass, not total body weight, but lean body mass, which is your body weight minus your body fat. That should be a good amount of protein. And then when it comes to carbs and fats, you guys know I am super pro carb when it comes to fat loss. But this changes a little bit if you're not exercising. Carbs are super, super helpful if you're lifting heavy and actively in a calorie deficit in order to preserve muscle mass, keep your energy up, get good workouts, etc. I have a whole video about why carbs are good for fat loss. If you want to check that out, link down below. But if you are not exercising, their usefulness becomes a lot less. And so I personally recommend relying more on fats than carbs. And this doesn't mean you need to go low carb. It doesn't mean you need to go high fat. It does not mean I'm recommending that you go keto. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm more saying that if you're lifting regularly, most people are gonna benefit from a higher carb diet. If you are not lifting and not exercising, you're not gonna benefit as much from a higher carb diet. So maybe like more of a mix of carbs and fats, like just up the fats a little bit, decrease the carbs a little bit. And then also, this applies kind of no matter what your goals are, but micronutrients, like eat the rainbow. Micronutrients are always important. So get a variety of fruits and vegetables and meats and all of that into your diet. The healthier you are, the more efficiently and effectively your body is going to lose fat. So that said, the healthier you are. I also recommend focusing on less processed, more whole unprocessed foods, again, just generally to boost your overall health, to prime your body so that it can more efficiently and effectively lose fat. And then supplement-wise, you guys know I would generally never recommend like fat loss supplements, and I'm not about to recommend a fat loss supplement, but I do think if you're getting rid of one of the main pillars of health, that adding things in to support your body does become a little bit more important. So generally, supplement-wise, I would start with what you need the most help in. Like if you know you need stress support, like take the adrenal super tonic. If you know you're not getting good sleep, try like magnesium or ashwagandha, also good for that. The adrenal support tonic, also probably good for that, honestly. If you know you're deficient in vitamin D, take vitamin D. But if you're generally overall feeling pretty balanced and you just want to add something in to just give yourself like a little extra edge, this is my recommendation. And it is Shilajit, which is an amazing, powerful adaptogen that almost made it into my Adaptogens 101 ebook, but it's not gonna lie, doesn't taste that great. And so I was struggling to figure out what recipes I can incorporate it into and actually make it taste good. But Shilajit, let's see if I can show you guys. Nope. But Shilajit, let's see if I can show you. It's a very like sticky, tar-like substance, which I know in itself sounds very unappealing, but it's found primarily in the rocks in the Himalayas, and it's formed through like very slow decomposition of plants. Like it takes like centuries to form this. So it's just this tiny little bottle of like gold. They actually call it black gold, so. But one of the main reasons I'm recommending this to kind of aid in your fat loss journey if you can't exercise is that there are some studies to suggest that it can boost metabolic rate. In one study, Shilajit was shown to help mitochondria in the body convert fat and sugar into ATP, which is the body's main source of energy. So while it's not gonna like miraculously burn an extra 200 calories, it can affect the metabolism in a way to kind of prime the body more for fat loss. And again, this is not like miracle cure. It's not there are no fat burning supplements. Like there are no supplements that you can just take and they're gonna burn a bunch of fat. But this is just going to support your body in its conversion of fat and sugars into energy so that you can burn it. Additionally, it increases strength and energy levels. So again, as a byproduct, if you end up like having more energy and you're moving more, that's going to burn more calories. Also, there's a lot of other benefits to this. It's not just like a metabolism boosting supplement. There's a lot of research to show its potential for boosting brain health health, which honestly for me is like the most exciting part, but for the context of this video, it can affect the metabolism. Super exciting. Again, this is also from Symbiotica. You can use the code FIT15 to get 15% off. I took this off and on during my fat loss journey. I was really excited to try it because I've known about it for so long. Like, it is one of like the OG, like super exciting adaptogens that like everyone kind of low-key talks about. But again, not gonna lie, it doesn't taste great. But that is one of my recommendations. And then the last pillar of health is exercise. And I left this for last because we're not exercising, but I did want to talk about some things that you can do within this pillar, potentially. So while you might not be able to like exercise, like go to the gym, lift heavy, do like intense workouts, hopefully you can still move. If you can't, then just feel free to ignore this part. But if you can like move your body, the more movement you can get in, the better. This is just gonna give you all of the health benefits of exercise, maybe on a slightly smaller scale, but there's so many benefits to exercise and movement. I would be here literally all day if I listed them all. But just to like maintain a basic level of health, if you can move, move. So some ideas for this if you can't do traditional exercise. Go for walks. Like, walks are very, very, very good exercise, even if it's just like a very slow walk around your block. You can do mobility. Like, mobility is amazing. It's not a workout, but it gets your body moving. It gets your body articulating your joints in all different kinds of ways. So if eventually you can get back to exercise, you're gonna be more mobile, you're gonna be stronger, you're gonna be able to get more out of your workouts. Or at the very least, it's just gonna help you stay mobile as you get older. In addition to that, if you can just stretch, that also could be a good way to get some movement in, just like get the blood flowing, get your body moving so you're not just super sedentary all day. And then this is a little bit closer to exercise, but if you can do just like super light yoga, even just yin yoga where you're laying in one pose for 3 minutes, like that could be hugely beneficial in itself. Like anything where you can just move your body, like set a goal of just not being sedentary. And those are my top science-backed tips for how to lose weight without exercise. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions or comments about this, please leave them down in the comments below. And if you have any other suggestions or ideas for content that you want to see, things you want me to talk more about, break down the science of, also let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you check out Symbiotica, get yourself 15% off with the code FIT15, again, linked down in the description box below. If you liked this video, please give a big thumbs up. It really does support me and my channel, and I really genuinely appreciate it. Please share this video with your friends, your family, and your neighbors. If you want to see more videos from me all about health and fitness, you can check them out over here. To see future videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I post a video, and I will see you very soon. Bye!